customer service and claim handlers. One of the most frequent complaints that I hear about claim handlers is that no one can ever get in contact with them. Claim handlers don't call you back. You don't get the amount of customer service that you want. So I do want to provide some insight and some tips on how to get better service. The vast majority of claim handlers work in a call center. There are many sizes of call centers depending on the company. In the larger standard insurers, there's just buildings of claim handlers. Thousands upon thousands of people that take phone calls and have an inventory. An inventory is the amount of claims that you have that you are in charge of. You have been made the primary claim handler. So for a typical claim handler, it's around, for the big standard insurance companies, you're looking at about 200 to 300. Those are current claims that are ongoing. And then usually the claim handler will also have to take what's called pool calls. Those are just calls that come in through an 800 number. So you have two computer screens, and then you have a headset. So what happens is you log into the phone, you start getting phone calls, and you start your day. The claim handlers usually have a schedule with their day. Some of it is their own, some of it is mandatory. And then there is also a mandatory amount of phone calls they need to take, and the calls are monitored. They're timed. There's all kinds of metrics that go on to make sure that you're doing an efficient job all day long. Usually whenever you're at your desk and you're on the pool line, you're just open to taking any calls. And I know with the larger standard insurers, it could be people are waiting, 45 minutes to an hour to speak to somebody. Very busy. There's a lot of burnout. There's a lot of turnover. Not only are claim handlers dealing with the public that's upset with them, they're dealing with working through their mail when police reports come in, emails come in, just mail from other companies. And then, they have their breaks, and then they work in the lunch. And then there's oftentimes mandatory overtime. If you can take the heat, I particularly like to stay busy. There's just no way that you can always call everybody when they want them to, or take all their phone calls. Unfortunately, a lot of calls go to voicemail. So it's a very stressful position. One thing I would like to say is that when you do have initial contact with your claim handler, listen to what they have to say. Ask them questions at that point. They're usually very knowledgeable, have been working in claims for years. They have an insight into what's going on with your claim, and they can give you some pointers to what's going on. There was a point in time when a standard insurer that I was working for, they always make a liability decision, is it 0 or 100, and that was just easier so they could do less work. And then management came in and said, no, we need to look at comparative negligence. There's a whole bunch of money out there our subrogation department is not getting. So the investigation took longer. A lot of times people need to see a police report. Especially now, police reports are being delayed. So one of my tips that I have for you, if you're having a difficult time getting a hold of your claim handler, when you have that first initial contact, make sure to have a list of questions. If you are a claimant, you may want to assume that going through your own insurance that you've paid premiums for will be a speedier process. It'll be easier. So that's one tip, is that, if you're the claimant and, it could just be easier. You've been paying your premiums for years. Everybody says, well, my rates will go up. Well, rates go up for a lot of different reasons. It takes a frequency of accidents, age, gender, location. I moved to Georgia and my rates went up. I mean, I can't do anything about it. My rates went down when I turned a certain age and all kinds of stuff. So that's an idea. And also understand that each claim handler has a specific way that they like to be contacted. Like I would keep one of my computer screens up to run email, and I could just work the phones, work my claims, and then work email. And I was constantly on the email. Usually there would just be a direction I would need to give over the email, or I could go back and look at the claim and then get back to you. It was just a lot easier than being called, getting a voicemail, having to pick up the voicemail, having to call you back, and then you weren't there, so I left a voicemail. It multiplied my work. So I always told people to always contact me by email. It was easiest, it was best, they got the quickest response. You may want to ask your claim handler if that's the best way to get to your to them. What's the way to get a quickest response? They will appreciate that. Another thing too is that don't scream and curse and hang up and call back, and then it's just not. Claim handlers by and large are generally respectful and they are knowledgeable. Sometimes they are telling you things that you don't want to hear. That you may have negligence, you may be at fault. That you've left your car in the tow lot for too long for the storage fees. There's all kinds of things that they tell people every day that they just don't want to hear. Sometimes, we get harassed on the phone, and then the person starts robocalling. It's just completely unnecessary. That's why we have our own insurance. So that's always an easier route. If you're the insured, same thing. Just be respectful, be nice, understand it's a process, ask the best way to get in contact with them. Daily contact is not necessary. Usually, if they're your insured and it's a large standard insurer, they press a button, they send an assignment to a shop, you go to the shop, they have an appraiser there, they do the appraisal, they get your car repaired, you pay your deductible. If you have rental car coverage, they might assign a rental car, they'll put a time limit. Once your vehicle is repaired, you return the vehicle. You pay your percentage off your rental coverage. If you don't have rental coverage, they'll usually give you a discount on the enterprise, the corporate rate, and then that's just something you'll have to do. Having an argument with somebody about their deductible, having an argument with a claim handler about how their percentage of rental coverage doesn't cover a rental car. These are things that really don't need to happen. So, as always, I just recommend understanding it's a process, asking lots of questions at the very front, considering going through your own insurance if you're a claimant, and understanding it's a process if you're the insured, and that we do need to take time to do an investigation. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.